What's going on, everybody? I'm Primalliquid and welcome to my guide for Disgaea 7. In this video, we are going to be going over item reincarnation, how it works, how to use it, and how to best use it. Basically, we're going to teach you everything there is to know about it. So, let's start, shall we? First of all, in order to unlock item reincarnation, you will need to pass a bill in the assembly, in the Dark Assembly. That will allow you to reincarnate items and enhance items. Now, for item reincarnation, there are a few things you need to know first and foremost. Firstly, when reincarnating items, normal quality items, so like this Mr. Gensi here, okay, you must complete all 10 stages. Basically, it needs to either kill the boss on the 10th stage or go through the item gate. Likewise, you could also just use the research squad, the item world research squad. Simply go through 10 floors on there as well, and then you can reincarnate the item. For rarity items, so like rare items, you must do the same but 20 floors instead. And then with legendary and epic grade items, you must do 30 floors before you can reincarnate the item. Now, when you first reincarnate, the initial cost will be 50 item points. However, every single time you reincarnate an item, that cost will double all the way up to 1,000,000 points. And it gets really expensive really quickly when you're trying to farm specific properties. Now, when it comes to item reincarnation, okay, there are a few things to note. Firstly, look at the attack on this Sword of Doom. It is 1.7 million. If I was to reincarnate it, okay, it would actually take me down to 900,000. Now, obviously, it did lose some levels there. Like, we can re-level it. However, essentially, what happens is when you reincarnate, you can take over 16% of the stats. Now, this is LP, okay? You earn LP by leveling the weapon up. So for a level 500 item, which is the highest level, you will have 630 LP. Now, there will be a DLC character that releases with an evility that when he is the leader of the item world squad, you will actually gain extra LP available so you can take more stats over. However, one thing to note is when reincarnating items, which you have to do once you hit level 30, if you want to stat max an item, you cannot simply reincarnate it. It would cost far too much in terms of item points, and it would take far too much in terms of time. You see, what you want to do to stat max an item is you want to enhance it by using all of these abilities here. Okay, you want to pass all of these, and then you want to level it up to 500. Then when it is level 500, and by the way, the only way it will get that high is if you manually go through the item world using the research squad. The highest it will ever get is about level 200, but you want to go through it manually and reincarnate at level 500. The only reason you want to reincarnate at level 500 is so that after the reincarnation, once you enhance again and level it up again to level 500, its stats will be higher than the previous time. For example, this level 500 Sword of Doom. If I reincarnate that right now, and then I enhance it again, because after every reincarnation, you can enhance again. So if I was to reincarnate it, enhance it again, and level it all the way up to 500 again, all of these stats would be a little bit higher than they are currently. So I would probably end up with about 2,500 in all stats, and the attack would probably be around about 1.8 million instead. However, if I was to reincarnate that now, enhance it, and then only level it up to 200 and then reincarnate it, once I leveled that up again and enhanced it again, its stats would be lower than they are right now. And the reason for that is how you take the stats over. If you want to create a perfect item with max stats, you have to level it to 500 every single time, which massively slows down the creation of a perfect item. However, that is not even the first thing you need to do when reincarnating. You see, when reincarnating an item, you will essentially be able to unlock some properties. Let's take a look at this Arcadia here, shall we? So as you can see right now, the properties on the right are stats up. That is the base property of the item. That will never change unless I change the item to something else. Then we have a Blaze, Attacker, Fine Line, and Soothe, as you can see. So, because these are normal quality items, I can only inherit 3 properties, okay? You can enhance them to remember 1 more, which takes you up to 4, but what this means is when I reincarnate this item, I can only take 4 of these properties over because I have enhanced them. These are the 4 that I can take over. Stats up will always be there because that is the inherent trait of the item, so we don't have to worry about that. That will always be there. Then these 4 will be the ones taken over. If this was a rare item instead, then the limit goes to 5 inherited traits. So that means I could take 5 over instead. For example, these 5 right here. If I was to reincarnate a rare item, I would be able to take all these over. For a legendary item, you can take 6 properties over, and for epic items, you can take 7. The reason 7 is the limit is because the original property does also count. So that means you have the original property plus 7 others that you can take over. Now, when it comes to farming properties, item reincarnation will allow you to get any property on any item. For example, okay, you are number 1. This is normally a property that is only available on a unique item obtained in the item world from an NPC. However, obviously I have it on a Carnage Arcadia right now. That's because item reincarnation can give you any property at any time. However, legendary ones are extremely rare. Not only that, some legendary ones are more common than others. For example, if we reincarnate right now, right here I've got Vernier Thruster, True Yoshitsuna, and another Vernier Thruster, which isn't really that amazing. Yes, we can have 2 new properties there, such as Such Skill and Thick-Headed, but they aren't amazing and they are not the ones that I'm after. So right now, I'm just going to kind of cheat a little and we're going to use Reincarnate to 1st generation. What this means now, okay, is whenever you go to reincarnate this item this time, that will only last for 1 reincarnation, the original item will always appear. See how now we only have 1 Thruster and 1 Yoshitsuna? However, now we have an Arcadia there. That is because of that. So we're going to reincarnate into that, and obviously I did not get any new properties, so we have our original 4 that were already on there, and we're going to take that. Now that we've just reincarnated that item, okay, if we go to item world, as you can see, it doesn't have a star there anymore, which means unlike these items, we can go into the item world again on it, and that's why you need to reincarnate to perfect an item. So what I would suggest doing, okay, when it comes to item reincarnation is first and foremost, reincarnate over and over and over again until you get the properties that you want. Okay, this is really, really important. Also, don't worry if you get an arrow pointing down or you turn it into a mushroom soup or anything like that. It doesn't matter. You can easily turn it back into whatever you want. Okay, the entire purpose of item reincarnation that I am showing you right now is solely to farm properties. Obviously, if you really wanted to, you could also go for max stats, but again, that would require you to manually level the items all the way up to 500. However, as you'll notice, my item points on the top right is going down very, very quickly. This does get expensive. Also, for items like Mr. Gensi's Exit, okay, as you can see on the property there, it says Mr. Gensi Exit 6. If I was to reincarnate that into another Gensi, that 6 would turn into 7. What that means is that basically gives me an extra use of the item, allowing me to use it an extra time before it eventually vanishes. This is also the best way to farm Mr. Gensi's, by the way, so highly recommend you do this. Now, when it comes to actually farming for the properties that you want, okay, you definitely do not want to start this with a legendary or epic item. Seriously, do not do that. If you were to start with legendary or epic items by throwing them into the item research squad, you would have to go through 30 floors before you can reincarnate them again. So what you should do instead, okay, is use normal quality items. That way you only have to go through 10 floors before you can reincarnate. Remember, the first step to creating an ultimate weapon is to get the properties. The reason for that is, on this save, as you can see, I've been playing for 75 hours at the time of making this video. I have spent easily 40 of those hours trying to get a single property called Swing About. It is by far the best property in the game, bar none. It is quite literally the one and only thing you want to get on a piece of Land of Carnage gear, basically. Ideally armor though, because you need 3 of them per character. So what we're going to do is we throw items into the item world research squad. Then we go and do 10 stages. We can either do just 10 normal carnage stages using poltergas, or we can just go into the item world on, say, a really good weapon. And then we can just do 10 floors of that. Every time we get to the item, every time we get to the innocent town, we just leave the item, and then we can take the items out of the research squad by pressing triangle all at once. Then we just reincarnate them and carry on. The reason I would suggest doing the item world venture is this way you can actually end up creating an item that is super strong at the same time. The reason you don't want to increase stats before getting the properties, okay, is when it comes to reincarnations. So if I just go and do 10 stages really quick, when it comes to reincarnations, you will be spending a long time. Those Arcadias you just saw me reincarnate, okay, those Arcadias have easily been reincarnated well over a few hundred times each. Okay, like seriously, well over a few hundred times each. That is how annoying it is to get some properties. So if I was to do that while leveling a single item, it would take forever. And if I was to use one of my super strong weapons in the research squad and just do it that way, every time I reincarnate it, it would get weaker and weaker. So that is why you want to get properties first before anything. As long as you get the properties first, then you can start stat maxing, and just do not change the properties when you reincarnate. That is above and beyond the most important step. So right here we've got a chaos orb with rainbow. I don't really care about rainbow, but we're going to take it anyway just to show you guys. So we're just going to accept that. We're going to remove stats up as one of the inherited properties. That is now replaced with SP up. Going to throw Soothe back on. And then we're going to get rid of the 2 ones that I just got. So what this will do now is, you see how we've got these 4 here, and then we'll have rainbow. That means we're taking over 5 properties plus the initial one that is SP up. So that means when we reincarnate this item again, okay, we're going to have 6 properties on there. However, we can only inherit 4 of them. What this means now though is essentially we're going to lose one of these legendary properties, one of these rare properties. Okay, if I was to reincarnate this again now, so if I just proceed with that, so now let's take a look at that chaos orb. Next time I reincarnate that, I can only take 4 of these over, and that includes any new properties available on the new items. So I'm going to lose some of these unless I upgrade the item to a higher rarity, allowing me to take an extra 1 over. So now all we have to do is just keep on and on reincarnating until we get the traits that we want. And unfortunately, these ones like such class and defense secret training, these are going to be the ones that you get most often, and they are terrible. The one that you want to aim for the most, okay, is called Swing About. Swing About is hands down the best ability to get. Now, what I would suggest doing is using 8 Arcadias for this. The reason I say Arcadias is because that's super easy to turn into things like traps and stuff like that. If you want to turn it into a trap, all you have to do is upgrade the rarity. Also, the upgrade and the downgrades from item reincarnation, they will only upgrade or downgrade into items you have already unlocked. So what I mean by that is if we go down here to the records NPC, the data shop, and we look at items, I go to armor. So my armor, well, anything can reincarnate into anything, by the way. So that Arcadia, for example, once that's a legendary item, that can reincarnate into any of these. You know, it can reincarnate into a Hades arm, or it can reincarnate into the rank 40 Hercules armor. Likewise, it could also reincarnate into a Trapezodon once it's become a legendary rank. Likewise, if it gets up to epic, it can also reincarnate into a trap as well. The only thing I don't know is if things can reincarnate into the rank 41 gear. So things like Bull's body and so on and so forth. I do not know if equipment can reincarnate into that. So unfortunately, I cannot really help you there. So with that said, now just simply go on, reincarnate, and get all of your properties. Again though, this is going to cost a ton, and I do mean a metric ton of item points. So feel free to take a look at the Disgaea 7 playlist down below in the description. I have tons and tons of guides in there for farming basically anything you can possibly imagine, and even then some. Still though, everybody, I do hope this video has helped. If it has, please be sure to smash that like button, and of course drop a comment down below, as it greatly helps out the channel. And if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more content. And of course, if I've not answered a question you have in this video or any of my other videos, also join our Discord server, linked down below in the description, and it's also linked on my linktree along with all of my other social medias. We have a nice active Disgaea community in there, and of course I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have as well. With that said though, everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.